KHTS.com. I am T here with Dr. Proctor, a weekly show every Thursday from noon to 1, where we have the opportunity to kind of peek over the shoulders of medical professionals, doctors, and support services. The things that help us stay healthy gives us a chance to peek over the shoulders of the professionals to see what they're up to, maybe learn a little bit, and be our own best advocates for our health and perhaps loved ones, people that we're as caretakers, people we're taking care of. And with the silver tsunami that they say is coming as Americans age and as more and more people have the opportunity to take advantage of the Affordable Health Care Act, doctors are impacted, hospitals are impacted, and the better we can advocate for ourselves as patients and look after our own well-being, the better it is for the medical professionals and everyone who supports that industry. With me today, I have Dr. Jessica Schulman. Now, I do love saying all of the suffixes, PhD, MARDCLE, a medical nutrition therapist. And thank you for being with me again here on Dr. Proctor.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you, because in the holiday season, one of the things that becomes a huge issue for us as human beings is food. The holidays, I used to have a joke that everything that we do in life ends with ATE, and we eat. So we celebrate, we commiserate, we congregate. We have a tendency, food is a huge part of our day-to-day lives, and especially our holidays and our celebrations. And often it's more about either indulging in the foods, and sometimes the holiday season comes upon us. And for me, it's the 7 deadly sins bust out of their box as soon as Halloween arrives. The little candies, and then November, it's Thanksgiving, and we've got the turkey and the stuffing and foods I wouldn't normally eat all year long. And butter and cream, and it's this roller coaster right on into Valentine's Day, because really by March, like, you get a reprieve, and then those eggs, cream-filled eggs, show up a month later. So the holidays really are all about food. And I wanted to take an opportunity today to talk with you, Dr. Schulman, about the idea that one, food doesn't have to be our enemy, because for a lot of people, the overextension of eating, etc. But something else that had not occurred to me before, that you educated me on, foodborne illness and problems. Because while we may think of that in the summer when we're putting mayonnaise in a potato salad or tuna salad, and then we're carting it off to the beach in the car, it's hot, I would have never thought of that during the holiday season. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and how to stay safe in the holidays season with that?
Sure. Yeah, and what we tend to do is, and it's a good thing, is we reheat our food after Thanksgiving several days later.
Leftovers galore. That's the best part of that holiday.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing to do. However, it does increase risk of foodborne infections. And so what I tell people is the simplest thing to do is keep food outside of the danger zone. And the danger zone is 40 degrees to 140. That's where bacteria love to thrive. So your refrigerator, less than 40. Reheat it, greater than 140.
Now, how do you know if you're microwaving? And the other thing is, I don't even know if this is a bad thing. Take out the tray of stuffing, reheat it, scoop it out, put it back in. And I know from baby food, when my kids were little, I was taught never to let a saliva, laden spoon go back in that and then store it, because gastric juices, they told me, start to digest that food in the jar. So never do that. So you got to catch that tricky person that's going to eat off the spoon and put it back in your, because that would be bad too, right? Double dipping.
What you get is basically it's like a petri dish, and the bacteria, they love to thrive in an environment that has the sugar and the protein, everything that's in our holiday food. So it is really important to, whether it's baby food or adult.
Don't stick a spoon and then put it in the container that you're putting
away.
away.
And if you do, boil it, reheat it to the right temperature, and leave it at 140 or greater for
Or scoop the amount you're going to eat out and then reheat it.
That would be ideal.
But you're saying over 140 degrees. But with a microwave, it's never even occurred to me. I know it's either lava hot or cold in the center. So I don't know what 140 degrees would be from the microwave. But it's got to be heated through, and that would be approximately 140 degrees, you think? Or, I mean, I don't know.
And that's the concern, is that nobody knows unless you put a thermometer in there.
Right.
A little, and there's some really cool stuff now, high tech, that you can just stick a needle in and But the microwave is a great place to reheat, because the way that microwaves work is they cause water to
they excite the water.
Yeah, vibrate. And so it has the effect of boiling, and that's higher. That's 212. And at 212 degrees, it kills almost everything. So microwaving. So
we like the microwave. Microwave's our friend, especially for that kind of thing.
Yes. But obviously after 3 days in the refrigerator, you want to get rid of whatever's.
Okay, now that's the other thing. I'm married to a guy who's got a cast iron stomach, and I'd forgotten to take some things out of the fridge, and I said, oh gosh, don't eat that. Thanksgiving was 2 weeks ago. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It's a better part of 2 weeks. Don't eat that. Well, no, that should be fine. That has been a bone of contention in our house, because then I have to get out the magic phone and go, this is how long you save food for.
And if you have, an iron stomach and you have a good immune system, then you get some nice probiotic out of that and he'll be okay. But for most of the population, if you're talking about older adults, not safe.
So how many days? It's Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, or you have your holiday party, how many days that food's in the refrigerator?
I would say 3 days.
3 days.
In the fridge.
Or freeze it, right? Would
freeze
that be
it immediately. Put it in small containers.
And then freeze it as you need it. But wow, that's gonna be a whole new conversation at my house.
And there's so much we can do to promote good food safety. That's just one thing. But there's so many other things, like during food preparation, preventing cross-contamination, making sure that your hands are clean.
Oh, and a lot of poultry this time of year, between turkey or roasting a chicken or goose. And that's one of those areas we should be or just meat, a roast. So we do have to keep the surfaces clean. And like you're saying, wash hands between preparation. And then what about things like, I'm always curious, for example, we cook with a lot of oil. In my house, we're going to be doing Christmas cookies, and we're going to be frying foods. We do both at our house. So oil that's been sitting in there, is that something to be concerned of too? It's like, oh, I should probably get new oil. I usually do. But I worry about even that, the things in the pantry that we're using this time of year that we don't normally use all year long.
Right. I just cleared out my pantry. I had spices from 2009, 10.
Right.
Not
there's not a market for that. You can't sell that on eBay.
It's not like a fermented wine.
Aged nutmeg.
Right. So, but the bottom line with oils is they do go bad. There's an expiration date on them. Worst case scenario, you use an old oil, it's going to get to such a hot temperature, I wouldn't be concerned. Okay. It just would taste bad.
That would be all right. Well, yeah, we don't want that. We got people coming over. All right. Well, again, since the holidays are so surrounded with that breaking of bread, where we bring our loved ones, or we bring our family, and you've got, or the holiday party. I mean, there seems to be a nonstop line, as I said, starting from Halloween. The candy shows up, and then we had pie left over, and then Christmas comes, and it's fudge, and it's cookies, and it is really hard for me personally to not want to eat everything that shows up. I don't want to be rude. Okay, that's probably 2, because 1, I really want to eat that. That's the number 1. I want to eat what's being set in front of me. Number 2, I don't want to be rude. I want to try it. How do we sort of, I don't want to police myself as the holidays come, but how do we protect ourselves from hurting ourselves and overextending? And do you have some advice on how do we not do that?
That's a good question. I'm still figuring out, but I have some things that we can do that
some tricks or just some little tips to help.
Yeah, and there's I always approach nutrition from 3 different angles. And one is looking straight at the science of the food. Is this good for us or not? Does it have the monounsaturates, or is it just full of processed, just
Well, the things that we shouldn't have, the whites, I always say, the flour, the sugar, the salt. All those things that when they come together, it's like, oh, there's nothing redeeming in that white cookie. My favorite cookie in the world is that ball cookie, they call them Mexican wedding cookies or Russian wedding cookies. There's nothing in there. Oh, and the nuts are healthy, but I'm going to eat that.
So, and what you're talking about is that aspect, the nutrition
we kind of have to
properties.
think about what we're putting in our mouth.
Then there's also exactly the psychology of it, the mindfulness. That's the second thing. And then we have the behavior.
We do a lot of mindless eating during the holidays. We sit, we talk, we have something to drink in our hand, and we do mindlessly eat.
So you have to address, or at least I like to look at those 3 components. So the nutrition part, the mindfulness, or just throwing stuff in our mouth, or and the behavioral tips. And we can go through all of them, and we'll do a little crash course.
My family they're involved in health and fitness, and so we did a little bit of the Scarlett O'Hara thing during the holidays. You are not going to that party on an empty stomach. You know how they say don't go grocery shopping on an empty stomach? Do not go to Aunt Grace's on an empty stomach.
Right. Have an apple. That's the behavioral strategy.
And that's the healthy thing. That's the other thing, is don't fill up and then go, because you're still going to eat on top of that. Eat something that you say to yourself that's healthy, like an apple. And then the other thing was, if people were pouring things like eggnog or cocktails or hot cocoa or cider, that's, and it's very sweet, and, make sure somebody brings a bottle of club soda. If you're going to show up, don't come empty-handed. You might want to include a bottle of club soda, because you can water down or use that to have a little bit, or use that as a filling device, because then you've got that in your stomach. You might be less inclined to overindulge in anything, whether you're eating or drinking.
And there's so many of those strategies, and I think it's fun to go through them, like putting your back towards the food and remembering
that's a good one. Just don't look at it.
We're there to have fun and socialize, but also, now we go into the mindfulness part. Take a breath and realize how blessed we are, that we have all this abundance. Maybe consider or keep in mind before you show up at the event, something like Family Promise, or that's an interfaith organization that helps feed people that are homeless or are suffering with food insecurity. The Single Mothers Outreach, and maybe get involved with that and think about how we can maybe take some of that food and share it with others as well.
And again, it makes you mindful. We're talking with Dr. Jessica Schulman, medical nutrition therapist. You can learn more about her and her practice at mynutritionspecialist.com. One of the other things during the holiday season too, like I love the idea of turning your back toward the food, to where you're doing that. I had someone else say to me, you're going to a party and there's going to be cheese and there's going to be shrimp, and you have that terrible breath after that. So take some gum. Pop gum in your mouth, and then you're not eating the other food. And
Great behavioral strategy.
Maybe not the most socially acceptable thing, but at least you're protecting yourself from, overindulging.
Well, having food in your mouth and speaking is not that much different from
right.
But there's a lot of those behavioral strategies that are so easy to find. You can just Google. And another thing to keep in mind is that people that have anxiety because maybe they've been on a diet, they've struggled with their weight, the studies show that those aren't the ones that tend to gain weight during the holidays, because they've already been thinking about it in advance. How am I going to handle this? Exactly. It's the people that are not struggling with their weight, that don't think about it, tend to gain about a pound during the holiday season, and that may or may not. About a pound.
Wow. I always hear the horror stories, like, I put on, I'm 2 dress sizes up, or I had to switch out for elastic pants because nothing fits.
And that happens over time, but that wouldn't happen over, from
Halloween
to Valentine's Day, or maybe 2 pounds.
Yeah.
But it's you and I, it's the ones that are, I assume, haven't struggled so much with, obesity and overweight, that are at the highest risk.
Right. But for the weight
for
gain.
the holidays.
Oh.
Because,
Now,
yes.
if you have, let's say you're the one in charge. It's your holiday gathering. And in our household, we are the quintessential joke right now of any eating. Oh, we've got someone who's gluten free. We have someone else who may be lactose intolerant, and so we're those terrible people that you're going to invite over. And because my daughter has celiac disease, and I know while the rest of America is talking about maybe being gluten free for different reasons, people do like to make fun. Can you think of a nice way to ask your host or your hostess, can I ask what's in that? I sometimes think, is it as easy as saying, I know that's delicious. What's the recipe? Can I ask what's in that? Or I always think, is there a way to approach people to say, we have issues? Because there are a lot of people with allergies. I know a woman who developed a horrible anaphylactic reaction to pistachios at age 58. She was never allergic her whole life and then developed anaphylaxis. Is there a way that you can, maybe as a nutritionist, because you might be more mindfully, you might be more appropriate than I would be, to ask your host or hostess, or do you think it's okay to just come out and say, what's in that?
I think this would be a good question for a therapist.
Okay.
But I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm
going
to take a stab because I have a child with special needs, and just from my own personal experience, I'll speak from that, which is that we don't want to take pity on people that are not sensitive to our children's needs or to our needs. And I think that for a party and someone has a peanut allergy or celiac disease or sensitive to gluten, that we have to find the confidence to ask those questions. And among, especially with the younger folks, they can blame me, blame the dietitian. My dietitian said that I have to ask. It's not me.
But do you see that as a dietitian with clients, or
absolutely
where because I know for us, we're almost fearful because it's become a thing where we don't want to be the troublemakers in the room, and oh my gosh, we don't want to be high maintenance. But it's for us, it's critically important.
Absolutely, be the advocate. Be matter of fact, and
yeah.
if the host is bristles or ruffles their feathers, we have to find a way to have thicker skin, because the health is number one. And again, blame your doctor, blame your dietitian. My doctor said I need to ask. It's not me. I'm not being rude.
Right, there you go. Now you're not high maintenance. The doctor is being a weasel. I know that in our household growing up, we were very, very mindful of like carbohydrates. So that we've already got that stigma. It's like, oh, there's carbs in that, I can't eat it.
Well, you're back in now you're current, because that's just
exactly.
People
we're
are
back
very
in,
sensitive
back in vogue.
Yes.
When we come back from the break, we're going to continue talking with Dr. Jessica Schulman, medical nutrition therapist. We're talking about holiday eating during the holidays, how to be safe, how to be healthy. When we come back, we're going to talk about what do you do when the horse is out of the barn, the ham is out of the bag. We've already done what we've done, and we're going to talk about how to pick ourselves back up. If you would like to learn more about Dr. Schulman, you can go to our website, mynutritionspecialist.com, and you can email her at dietdoc@sbcglobal.net. You're listening to Dr. Proctor.